thank you guys so much for coming and joining me. And today I'm going to be sharing a bit more about this brand new program, which we are very excited about, called the Foundation in Silver Jewellery. So as has already been mentioned, and some of you may know, at Jewellers Academy, we're quite well known for our diploma programs. We have actually 4 jewellery diplomas. And they are, obviously I'm biased, but they are brilliant. But they are quite a long commitment. They're a year-long commitment each. And we realize that sometimes when you're just starting out, it's really nice to just get straight in there and make sure that it's something you really enjoy doing before you kind of make a further commitment. So that's why we decided to start the Foundation in Silver Jewellery, to give just a great introduction to silver jewellery making. We very much pride ourselves in being all about the making. So there's nothing academic. There's not lots of paperwork. We don't get you bogged down with anything like that. You're just straight into the making, being really practical, because the more you do and the more you make and the more you practice, the quicker you'll pick up those basic skills and be able to just run with them and make all types of things that you might really enjoy doing. So I'm going to run through the program today. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I will come to them at the end. Anna Campbell, who is our community manager here at Jewellers Academy, she looks after all of our wonderful students, is on tonight as well. So she will help kind of go through the questions with me at the end. So feel free to put them in at any time and I will get to them towards the end of the session. So we'll go ahead and get started. Brilliant. So what is the Foundation in Silver Jewellery? It is a 5-week fully supported online program, of course, to get you started in silver jewellery making. It's suitable for complete beginners. So if you've never done any making before, then you are very welcome. If you've done a little bit, then it could also be really helpful. If you're quite an experienced maker, then this course probably isn't the one for you. And we'd probably recommend having a look at the diploma in silver jewellery, or if you've been doing jewellery making for quite a while, then potentially the 2nd year program, which is the fine jewellery diploma. But this is a brilliant place to start, and we're going to be covering all the basics and making some really nice pieces. So it's not just an online course, it's much more involved than that, and I'm going to talk you through how it works as we go through the kind of program tonight. So a big welcome to anyone who's—
Hello, lovely.
Well done making it.
Well, I've managed.
Do pop yourself on mute. Thank you. It can always be interesting on Zoom, but feel free to come and say hi at the end. So yeah, quick question for anyone who's just joined. I did ask this at the beginning, but have you ever made any jewelry before? I'd love to know in the chats what you've done, whether it's making like pasta jewelry at school was the last time you did something, or whether you've done some like beading or metal clay or even a bit of silver jewelry. Anna says, I've literally never made jewelry and I'm a proper total beginner. Love that, Anna. I remember being in that position, and sometimes that's the best place to start because you don't have any bad habits, you're just brand new, fresh, ready to go. But it is a wonderful world, jewelry making, and I'm excited to be able to introduce you to it. Trisha's never made jewelry before either. This is very exciting. I'm always excited when people have never started because I just feel like it's such a wonderful journey to go on. So it's great to be able to introduce you guys. So I'm Jess. For anyone who's not met me before, my name's Jessica Rose. I founded Jewellers Academy. Gosh, I can't remember how many years ago now, maybe 6, 7, 8, something like that. And we are professionals in online training for jewelers. About 15 years ago, I started the London Jewellery School, which was a big jewellery training centre in London's Hatton Garden, where we trained over 40,000 jewelers. We've now trained more than 1 million jewelers online. So this is what we do. This is what we love doing. We have an incredible team of creative people and jewelers who basically help train the next generation of jewelers, whether they want to do it for a hobby, for fun, for relaxation, enjoyment, or to start their own jewelry business or build a career in jewelry. So we're really open to kind of any level, and really want to make sure that jewelry making is as accessible as possible to anyone who would like to learn. So making silver jewelry, I was just thinking about this today and I was like, what do I love about making silver jewelry? And this can probably be applied to any type of jewelry making. And you may have more things to add to this list, but the ones that came to mind to me is it's really fun. very creative. It's a great kind of outlet, a way to kind of express yourself. We all have different designs, different ideas, different things that we like, even if we're not very aware of them yet, even if we don't think of ourselves as a creative person. We often had at the jewelry school, like accountants, lawyers, all different kinds of people come and learn to make jewelry. So if you have any imposter syndrome of, can I do this or will I be good enough? I'm just here to reassure you that yes, absolutely, everybody can make jewelry, whatever age you are, whatever background you have, even if you've never done anything artistic before, we are here to help guide you through that process. And it's a great outlet, I think, especially if you've got a stressful job, or perhaps, you've reached a stage in life where you just really want to focus on learning something new. It's very stress relieving, especially silver jewelry making, because there's quite a lot of hammering. And there's, it can be quite physical. So it can be quite nice to kind of get in there and get involved, and seeing something go from not existing to existing because you created it with your own hands is, I just think, so rewarding and such a wonderful thing. It's very engaging. It's great as a hobby because there's just an endless amount of things that you can learn. I've been learning jewelry making now for nearly 20 years, and I still sometimes feel like I'm a beginner. There's just so many different types and avenues that you can kind of go down. Of course, it's a great way to build a business. People are buying jewelry all the time. It's very popular. And I imagine if you start making jewelry, very quickly, friends and family will say, oh, could you make me one of those? And, could I also have one with this gemstone in, and so on and so forth. So even people who start out just as a hobby often end up doing some sort of business. I know for me, when I started learning silver jewelry making, I already knew, even though I had no idea how to make jewelry, that I wanted to run a business in it, because I just knew it was what I wanted to do. So that may be you as well, in which case, that's an exciting path to go down. There's a lot of kind of mindfulness involved in jewelry making. I think you really get lost in it. This is the same kind of with most crafts, but because it's very small and detailed, if you are a detailed oriented person, this may be very satisfying for you. It's good for our mental health, kind of for those reasons that you can really get lost in it. So if you're going through a difficult time in your life, I know that jewelry making has often helped a lot of people through some of that stress, because it's just so focused. And it's a great way to meet new people. And even with online courses, we really encourage kind of community and connection. And we're talking a bit more about that as we go through the session today. So that's some of my list of why I think, jewelry making is just a great thing to do. So coming back to the foundation course, it's a 5-week online program. I recommend around 3 hours commitment a week. This is so you can kind of watch the videos, get involved in it all, spend a few hours making, and there's also some live online stuff too. Obviously, you can put more time in if you want, but I'd say like a minimum of 3 hours you'll get the most out of the program that way. So who you'll be learning from. So our tutor for this course is called Laura Jane. We picked her very carefully. She is a wonderful teacher, and she's good for all levels, but particularly for beginners. Laura's based in rural Shropshire, and she has over a decade's worth of jewelry making experience. You can see a picture of her there at her bench, looking very happy, doing some making. She has her own jewelry business called Small Dog Silver. So she sells her work. She does quite an eclectic mix of work. You can check her out online if you'd like to. And her real passion is kind of creating an eco-friendly business. And that's at the heart of everything she does. So she often talks about that when she kind of works with us. She's a very down-to-earth, easygoing person, which I think is really important for beginners, because we're learning lots of new things. We don't want to be stressed out. We kind of want to, feel really comfortable, very kind of friendly, approachable. You can ask her anything. And she pretty much has an answer for it all, as far as I've come across. She knows a lot about tools as well. She's a bit of a tool addict. So we'll be doing some live sessions in the course, and Laura Jane will be joining us for those. So you will get a chance to talk to her, meet with her, ask her questions, and get support. And she really is lovely. So that's always a good place to start, having a great teacher. So now I'm going to go through the 5-week program and what we're going to be covering to give you an idea of the projects and the kind of things that you will be able to make. So week one, so I'll talk more about how it's structured in a moment, but every week video content is released. So this is professionally filmed video. We use a film crew that has, multiple camera angles, really good close-ups, so you can see everything you need to see to be able to make jewelry. Like I said, we used to run classes in person for many, many years, and I love in-person classes, but the real advantage of online is we can get amazing camera angles and you can rewind, replay, pause, stop, come back to it. So you're actually able to see better than you would in an in-person class, which is a wonderful kind of advantage that we have. So every week you'll have this content released. You'll have lifetime access to it. So even after the course is finished, you can come back anytime and look at it again, which is great if you are making something for someone and you think, oh, how did I do that again? Kind of go back to the video, redo it in the future as well. So week one is, we start with the basics. So we're making a silver necklace. So this is, piercing is the name for a sawing technique for jewelers. So you'll be using a jeweler's saw to cut out a silver necklace. And here are some examples of the kind of things that you could choose to do. So I'll kind of cover some of the techniques involved in this week. So you'll look at using a jeweler's saw, how to put a saw blade in, how to work with a jeweler's saw. It's quite different to other types of saws, how to transfer designs into metal. So if you've done a drawing, or perhaps if you have some kind of royalty-free art that you want to use, there's quite a lot of books and places that you can find designs. We also have templates for you to use. How you can transfer that onto the metal so that you're ready to cut out. You'll be looking at working with copper and silver. So often you're starting copper because it's a cheaper metal to work with and it's very similar to silver. And then we'll move on to making your final piece in silver. Now you need to have holes usually in your pieces to be able to attach them to a chain. So we'll be looking at how to drill in the metal and how to create the holes. You will create a finished necklace this week. You'll also be learning about filing the silver because we want to make sure we don't have any rough edges, and polishing and finishing. So there's quite a lot even in week one, and we're not using any torches or anything like that just yet. We're just working on sawing and the piercing out pieces, but already there's quite a few techniques and endless designs that you can use to make pieces. And even my necklace here, which is like a rose, is just a simple silver that's cut out. So there's so much that you can do with this, and that could obviously be, we're focusing on a necklace for week one, but it could be earrings, bracelets, whatever. So that's the first week. Then we move on to week two. So it's similar, but we're kind of progressing. So we're adding some more techniques on. So this week, we're going to make some silver earrings, some silver drop earrings. So there's a few different techniques that we're going to be adding in here. First of all, obviously with earrings, there's two, not just one. So you've got to make two the same. So that's a new challenge from the week before. Also, we can work with some slightly more complex shapes, for example, cutting out shapes within shapes a little bit more. So we'll be developing our sawing practice, drilling again in silver, and creating ear wires. So you can see on here, we've got some ear wires with bald ends. So we're going to use a torch. We're going to start working with the jeweler's torch, which is a very small kind of creme brulee torch, nothing to be scared of or intimidated by. You can do it at home. All of this you can do kind of from your dining room, kitchen table, spare room, wherever you've got space. You don't need a lot of space to make jewelry. So don't worry if you don't have any special dedicated area. This is very easy to be able to kind of set up and put away. So you'll be learning how to ball the ends of the wire, create the ear wires, and create a finished pair of silver earrings. So that is kind of the second week of the program. Then we move on to week three, and this is where things get a little bit more serious because we are making a silver ring. So this is a great project to learn for beginners, and often when we taught this class, it was slightly different, but we taught a class with this in at the London Jewellery School. It was our most popular class. It was like a one-day beginner silver jewellery class. And people made these bands and they'd come back to many, many classes, and I'd always see them still wearing that first band that they made. So it's kind of one of those things you make and you never take off in many cases. So you'll be learning some kind of additional skills and techniques here. So we'll look at measuring and sizing a ring band to be able to make a ring to size. Something called annealing, which is heating the metal, getting it malleable and ready to bend, which is a really important thing to be able to do for all types of silver jewelry making. We'll be looking at texturing, so there's lots of different ways to add different textures to your metal. Laura Jane will be showing you some different options for that, using hammers, using stamps, metal stamps, a variety of different things. And of course, we'll be soldering. So soldering is joining two bits of silver together using something called silver solder, which has a lower melting temperature than the silver itself. So it kind of creates this very seamless join. You'll be creating the round ring shape. So kind of working with manipulating the metal, being able to shape it, filing, polishing and finishing, and of course, making your complete silver ring. Then we move on to week 4. So this is a little bit more complex. So obviously we want you to progress, and that's what we do in our courses, is we kind of start with the basics, build on week, so that by the end, and by the time you come to each week, you're kind of ready to do the next stage. So it's a challenge, but it's something that you can do because you've already done the foundations. So this is the stone setting, and I always find stone settings the most exciting weeks because I just love working with gemstones. But you'll be making a stone set necklace, and this is a setting called a cabochon setting. It's probably the best setting to learn to begin with. A cabochon is a stone with a flat back and a curved top. So you can get all types of different cabochon stones, but we'll start off by setting a round stone. It's a really good place to kind of start. So the techniques will be obviously working with the gemstones, creating a cabochon setting. So we'll be creating the setting using something called bezel wire, which is the strip that goes around the stone. It's slightly different to silver sheet. So you'll have your silver sheet, which you've been working with throughout the weeks, and then we'll be working with bezel wire. You'll be soldering multiple joins in one piece. So the week before we've done one solder join, now we're adding a couple in because we need to solder the setting onto the silver, and we're also going to need to solder a jump ring on. So we'll look at jump rings. For anybody who doesn't know, are like just little silver circles of metal, and they've got a usually a little split in it so that you can attach things to things. So you might attach a chain to the gemstone. So here you can see at the above of the gemstone a little jump ring. So you'll learn how to make those, and they are used for all manner of things in jewelry making. So we're really covering a lot of the fundamentals. And of course, you'll create a finished stone set pendant. And I think they're very addictive. Once you've learned how to make one, you're like, you're off. Then we finish with the final week, which is a little bit quirky, a really kind of nice project, making a silver wave ring. So in some ways it's more simple than week 4, and in some ways it's slightly more complex because you're working with shape and form. So you'll be working with silver wire. We've mostly worked with silver sheet this far, so silver wire is a little bit different. You'll be learning how to shape the wave ring, how to saw accurately, because it involves doing some more precise sawing to get the wave shape right. You'll be soldering wire and creating your finished wave ring. So there's actually loads within the 5 weeks. We've really structured it so that you cover lots of techniques. You'll have this little collection of pieces that you will have made. But not only that, and probably most importantly, is the skills that you learn in these 5 weeks will mean you can make countless things, because you know how to make rings, you know how to do stone setting, you know how to cut metal, you know how to make earrings, you know how to make pendants. So with that, you can easily make your own collections. And, you know, if you feel ready and confident, start making and selling your jewelry, or at least gifting some to friends and building up the kind of confidence if that's something that you want to aim for. So let's have a look now at how it all works in terms of the online program. So I mentioned before, you'll have these weekly lessons. So they will be released each week, usually on a Monday. by Monday morning, 8 a.m. They're all up and ready to go. You've got the whole week to work through them. Like I said, you have lifetime access, so you actually have a long time to work through them, but we really encourage you to work through with us week by week, because having the power of the group and the accountability is going to help keep you on track, keep you motivated and inspired as you go through. If you're away for a week or you're unwell or, whatever happens, that's absolutely fine. You can always catch up. But we will be kind of going through week by week and encouraging you. Then we're having 3 group Zooms. So a bit like this session, but it'll be more interactive. We'll be talking to you individually. You'll be put into small groups where you come together on Zoom 3 times throughout the session. So on week 1, week 3 and week 5, and you'll be talking about the projects, and it's your chance to ask questions. Laura Jane will be there, who is the tutor on the course. You can ask her anything you like, share your progress, and again, they're just to really help you to stay motivated, stay inspired, but also get some support if you need help with anything, if the solder's not flowing or whatever it is, whatever issue you've had. I'm sure one of us have had it before. So we'll be able to help solve it with you as well. We also kind of wanted to give you a flavor of what it's like to be on one of our diploma programs. And in that, they have fortnightly group sessions, and they also have some one-to-one mentoring. So as part of the course, you'll have a 30-minute one-to-one session with one of our expert jewelers. So this is again where you can get individual support. So if there's something you're struggling with that you want to ask about, or you just want to speak to a jeweler and ask them how they work in their practice, or get sort of support around filing, soldering, any of the things you're covering in the course, polishing and finishing, it's an incredible opportunity to have that individual support with a jeweler online too. So it's a really kind of fully supported program. That's why it's not just an online course, it's like much more immersive than that. And then you have the Facebook group. So there's a dedicated Facebook group for each cohort that goes through. This first cohort starts in November, which is not that far away. I think it's about 5 or 6 weeks' time, which is crazy. So the Facebook group is where you can get support anytime. And all of your fellow peers will be in there, but also so will Laura Jane and some mentors involved in the program. So that's where you can post pictures, share your progress. So if you have stuff in between the fortnightly sessions that you want to ask about, you can ask questions. If you're stuck with any of the tools, the materials, anything like that, we are here to help. So there's lots of different ways that you can access support. And you can see kind of how other people are getting on the course. And I also think that it's really important with the group Zooms and the Facebook group to connect with other people on the same journey. And, in our diploma programs, we've had lots of people who've ended up meeting up and going to jewelry events together or exhibitions. So you never know kind of where these things can lead you as well. So you're fully supported learning in kind of small groups. And like I mentioned before, even though you can see this beautiful setup, which I'm very lucky to have in my workshop, you absolutely do not need that. This is like nearly 20 years in. So something to work towards perhaps, but you can do this from anywhere, and we can help you kind of get set up with the basics as well. So to talk a bit about the course fees, the recommended retail price for this course is £499, but we wanted to make it really accessible for people to kind of get started. And we know that there's tools and materials to think about as well. So the course fee at the moment is just £197, which is all of the program for the 5 weeks, all of the support, the Facebook group, all of that kind of stuff, the one-to-one mentoring as well, and lifetime access. So it's a really good offer, and we're excited that it's going to make it as accessible as possible for people to get started with their jewelry making. Now let's talk a bit about the tools and materials, because they are always the most expensive part of jewelry making. So your toolkit is kind of, it's the basics, it's everything you need to be able to make these pieces. And I think the wonderful thing about toolkits for silver jewelry is once you have the basics, you've got them. And a lot of the things are like hammers, tweezers, solder blocks, torches, things that could last a good 10 to 20 years. A lot of my tools I've had since I first started. So it's not like buying a computer or something like that, where after 6 or 7 years, you kind of need a new one because all the software and technology is updated. The great thing about the tools we use for jewelry making, once you've got a set of pliers, you've got a set of pliers. Having said that, it is an addiction. I will warn you now. Can't say I didn't warn you. There's always more tools that you can buy, but you don't need any more. We have put together a toolkit, which covers everything you need to make the pieces in this course. You can buy it from us. We don't make any money on the toolkits. We just do them to support the courses. Or you can buy the pieces individually. We've made a list so that you can source them. So if you already have a lot of them, you might choose to just top up what you have. But if you're new, I recommend getting the toolkits from us because we kind of put them all together and you got everything that you need. We also have material kits. So the material kits include all the silver you need to make your pieces. In many cases, it will have double the amount you need, so you can make a couple. It also includes your solder, which is a little bit like silver, but it has a lower melting temperature. So that is needed to join a lot of the pieces. Your gemstones, just the wire, everything that you need. And once again, you can, if you already have materials and you think that will fit in, you can order them yourself. But we do recommend, especially for beginners, to get the toolkits because it just makes your life so much easier. And we find the students that get the toolkits are just, a lot happier and calmer because they got everything there in front of them, than frantically kind of going around trying to find everything that they need to do the course. But if you have any questions about them, feel free to ask. Again, we've tried to keep it, as low cost as possible, but there are quite a few things needed to make all of this jewelry. So the toolkit is £265. The material kit is £197. Those prices include UK postage. If you are overseas, you can have a look at the link. We have broken down the different costs for shipping overseas. We include in the shipping costs all duties and taxes and various things like that, so you really know what you're going to be paying for, because it can add up when you're shipping things overseas. But have a look on the page. I think Anna can pop it in the chat. This is the page where you can sign up, and it also has the details of the various different shipping to different countries. I should warn you for the first cohort that if you are overseas, we encourage you to buy your toolkits and material kits as soon as possible. This week is the deadline so that we can get it to you within a month's time, because there's lots of kind of things to do with customs and so on and so forth. We really want to make sure that you have it well in advance. But if you have any questions about it, feel free to drop us an email. We have been sending out toolkits to every country in the world pretty much for more than 5 years. So we're quite experts at working with FedEx and kind of getting the right things to you at the right time. But if you have, any concerns, feel free to get in touch. These are the prices for US, because we know we have lots of students in the US. We have lots of students all over the world. So wherever you are very welcome. So the course is in American dollars, £247. And then the course and toolkit is 703, not pounds, sorry, US dollars. So used to saying pounds. And you can see the rest of those there. And these costs include the international shipping and taxes. So there are some additional amounts for international shipping. We wish there weren't. We wish it was free, but it does add up. But yes, and I think it's always worth, when you're looking at the cost, thinking about, the pieces that you can make. So at the end of this, you will have at least 5, if not closer to 10, finished professional pieces of silver jewelry that you can then sell on and use to do as part of a business, should that be kind of your interest. Also, if you're thinking of joining the diploma in silver jewelry in future, and we have tool and material kits for that. The material kit, of course, you're going to use in this course, but the toolkit you can just upgrade. So you don't need to buy the whole toolkit again. we will take this bit out of the future toolkit and you can just upgrade to the next level, which is always quite good to know that there's options. So that's kind of a whistle-stop tour of the program. Of course, I'll answer some questions, but we'd absolutely love you to come and make some jewelry with us.